What's up, Fuse? My name is Makayla, and I'm so glad that you've chosen to join us this week. This week is the first week of our new sermon series called Popular. During this series, we'll be talking about influence and how it can be a good thing and a not so good thing. It's going to be a great series, and I can't wait to hear Jason bring the message for us today. But before we get into that, Jordan has a game for us.
Hey guys, it's Jordan. So today I have a little bit of a surprise for Makayla and Andre. We're gonna be playing a game where they'll be blindfolded, and I'm gonna put these things in front of them, and they have to guess what they are without freaking out. Let's go up there and check it out. Hey guys, so we're up here now with Andre and Makayla, and we're gonna get started into what I was talking about earlier. So first up, we're gonna do some of this. Okay, you guys put both your hands out in front of you. I'm gonna have you go over the table a little bit, just like that.
Okay.
Ready?
What is in my hand? What is this? what is in my hand? Ew.
Guess what it is.
Ew.
What do you think it is?
Can I feel it?
You are feeling it.
But it's like, I don't know.
You can move it.
It's so light. Is this like a
Sticky.
creep? Is it like, ew. Someone, you still pouring this?
No.
Is it?
It's super heavy.
Why
is it so heavy?
Okay. I don't know what. Oh, stop pouring it, man. Gross. Is this glue?
No, it's not glue.
It smells like some. Is this a cream? Like lotion? It's lotion.
No. It's not lotion. Okay. You guys don't got it? It's slime.
Slime.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, next up, we've got this, and I'm not too excited to touch this. So if you guys want to hold your hands out again.
You're kidding me. You don't want to touch this. Why do we want to touch this and we have our blindfolds on?
Seriously.
Oh, this does not sound good.
What is that? What do you think it is?
Hold on. What is it?
It's cold.
Is it a worm?
Yes.
It is a worm! God!
Threw it. Okay.
How did you guess a worm?
Dump.
I
Thought
it was like a snack. Oh, that makes sense. That's why you didn't want to touch it.
Yeah, no. I went outside and dug those up because the other worms I had were dead.
How did you
So-
guess worm?
Next up, I'm gonna have you guys hold your hands out. Actually, I think this one will be fun if you guys have to touch it. It's sitting on the table. So if you can find it,
It's
and
sitting
touch it,
on the
it's
table.
sitting on the table. They've got to
What is it?
and guess what it is. So just reach your hands out and try and figure out.
Is it gonna stick? What is that?
What is that? It's moving.
What is that, Jordan? What is it?
You have to guess.
Makayla, have you touched it yet?
Yeah.
What is
but
it?
It's moving, and I don't like that. Is it a turtle?
No. We're gonna do a turtle.
It's moving?
Hard. Yes, it's hard. When it's moving when I touch it.
You're not even close, Andre.
Am I close now? Wow, Jordan, what is it?
All right, I gotta go in both hands.
It's a potato.
It's a turtle!
It's a potato.
It's a potato. I just so you know, I don't trust you, okay? I didn't trust Jason last week, and I sure don't trust you.
I really thought it was a turtle.
Okay, so we're back, and I have the fourth and final thing that you guys are gonna touch right here in front of me. So if you guys wanna lean out, reach out to the table and touch it right now, you can.
What is that? There's something. There's like an animal or something.
Yeah, that's hair for sure.
What is that?
You gotta figure out what it is.
And I hear footsteps.
I can hear it moving.
I am not touching whatever that is. I refuse. I hear patter going on. Yes, there's a live creature.
It's definitely a live creature.
Oh, what is that? Is that a cat or a dog?
What do you have
I'm
to
gonna
touch
guess a dog.
it? A dog? Is that your final guess?
Yes.
You have to touch it and find out.
I'm allergic to animals.
Oh, he is.
I'm allergic to cats. Is it a cat?
I
not
don't want
a
it to
cat.
bite me.
Oh.
Nothing will bite you, I promise.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. You guys can go ahead and take off your blindfolds.
What was it? What was it? Oh.
This is my friend Ruby.
Oh, now I can touch Ruby.
Okay, well, this has been fun, and I hope that you guys are excited for Fuse that we're about to go into.
What is going on, Fuse? I'm so glad that you are with us. Whether you're in your pajamas still, laying in bed, or it is in the middle of the night, I'm glad that you're with us. I have a question for you all. Who do you think is the most famous person on earth? Now, can I tell you what I think is interesting about answers to this question? They're all over the place. Some of you think the most famous people are musicians or athletes. Others think YouTubers or actors or the host of your favorite TV shows are the most famous people on earth. You see, when it comes to something like fame, we all have different ideas or who's in first place. Why? Because each one of us has a different idea of what's important. If you're not in the sports, an NBA athlete isn't going to be that big of a deal to you. If you don't know much about fashion, you definitely don't know who's the best designers are. And if you don't watch the Avengers movie, which I think you should, you don't care that much about the guy who plays Iron Man. All of these things may be popular, but they just aren't popular to you. And that's okay. Because of that, they don't have a lot of influence over you because it doesn't matter to you. So what do I mean by that? Well, influence is the ability to have an effect on someone else. It's the ability to affect someone else's behavior, thoughts, or choices. And while we may not all agree on who's popular in our world or culture, I think we can all agree on this. Popular people have influence. They have people's attention. What they say and what they do matters to the people around them. And their popularity gives them the ability to lead or influence other people to change things about themselves for better or for worse. For example, the most famous person to me on this earth is Michael Jordan. He's the greatest basketball player of all time. And when I was in middle school, I shot the ball like MJ. I dribbled the ball like MJ. And there was nothing like that crossover in Game 6 against Utah that I will never forget. And I practiced that over and over. LeBron James has nothing on Michael Jordan. Here's the funny thing about influence. A lot of us may wonder if we have much of it. We think the ability to influence other people is something that only comes with fame or popularity. Maybe you wonder how much influence you truly have because you aren't quite sure what you have to offer, or you struggle with the fear or failure, or the pressures of influence is just too much for you. You are not alone. I for sure have felt all these pressures before. But there are some of you who haven't really put a lot of thought into this whole influence thing. It never really occurred to you that you have the power to influence or lead others too. Here's the point. We tend to think of influence as this big, unattainable thing. It's something that we can't seem to reach ourselves. We're quick to recognize the influence that famous or popular or important people seem to have, but somehow we end up missing the potential we have to influence others. Questioning if we have the power to influence others around us isn't a new thing. In fact, people have been wondering about their potential to lead and influence others for a really long time. I'll show you what I mean. I want to look at an account from the Bible written by a guy named John. We're going to read about a time when Jesus was leading, serving, and living here on earth. During his ministry, Jesus had a ton of influence on the people around him. And of course, there was no social media, no internet at the time to measure fame and popularity. But we do have the Gospels, the 4 accounts written about Jesus' life on earth in the Bible. These accounts give us plenty of insight into just how many people sought out and followed Jesus while he was on earth. And Jesus didn't just have influence during his life. 2,000 years later, his death, people are still talking about and following him. That's a lot of influence. This particular account we're about to look at took place in the midst of one of Jesus' influential moments. This was a moment where Jesus was talking to literally thousands of people who'd come to hear what he alone had to say. He'd been teaching and doing a lot of miracles up to this point, and word had spread about him. His influence was growing, and now he had a massive crowd following him around because they couldn't wait to see what he would do next. When this story picks up, Jesus was focused on one thing in particular: feeding the people. And while I certainly appreciate a guy who's thinking about food, because I surely do, I can't imagine what it would be like to figure out how to feed thousands of people with nothing in front of them. You start with this. So let's see what happened in John chapter 6. Then Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. There's a young boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But what good is that with this huge crowd? Tell everyone to sit down, Jesus said. So they all sat down on the grassy slopes. The men alone numbered about 5,000. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks to God, and distributed them to the people. Afterwards, he did the same with the fish, and they all ate as much as they wanted. After everyone was full, Jesus told his disciples, "Now gather the leftovers so that nothing is wasted." So they picked up the pieces and filled 12 baskets with scraps left by the people who had eaten from the 5 barley loaves. So the disciples took this young boy's food, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and gave it to Jesus. Jesus prayed over it and started handing it out. Now, if I were this kid, I'd probably be getting nervous, right? Not only did Jesus take his dinner, but he also expected it to be enough for every single person in the crowd to eat, right? This boy probably thought he wasn't going to eat anything. At a first glance, this kid didn't seem to have enough to offer, enough to give, enough to do anything worthwhile for these people. He just had his dinner. That was it. But still, this kid let Jesus use what he had. And what happened? Jesus just kept passing and passing and passing and passing out enough food to feed every single person until they were full. By this time, everyone finished eating and there was still 12 baskets of leftovers. Pretty cool, right? Now, there are so many amazing things about this story, but I want to zoom in on just one part. Jesus could have fed this huge crowd of hungry people any way he wanted to. He could have made it rain bread from heaven. He could have called the fish to flop out of the seas, but he didn't. Instead, he used the boy's dinner. The boy had just packed himself something to eat, 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, and that was what Jesus chose to feed everyone. You see, Jesus saw that the boy had something to give, and Jesus chose to use it to make an impact. By doing that, Jesus made this boy's dinner into so much more. Take a look at how this passage ends. When the people saw him do this miraculous sign, they exclaimed, "Surely he is the prophet we have been expecting." The people saw what Jesus did with what this kid brought, and because of it, they started to believe in him. Could Jesus have done this all without this boy and his bread of fish? Of course. but he chose to use someone who was willing to give what they had, no matter how little it might have seemed. This kid wasn't super important or popular. Nobody there might have even known his name. He hadn't even intended to be influential. He just packed food for himself. But because he just brought what he had, Jesus allowed him to be a part of influencing thousands of people to believe. Now that's pretty cool. If Jesus could use a young boy with his dinner to make a massive impact over 2,000 years ago, he can use you just as you are. He can use you wherever you are right now. He can use you to influence your brothers, sisters, and even your parents. Because just like this boy in the story, Jesus can use whatever you have to do big things.
As we just learned from Jason, you don't have to be popular or well-known or famous to have influence. You don't need to have the most followers on Instagram or the most views on TikTok to get it. You simply have to be willing to let Jesus use what you have. You have to be willing to give whatever you've got for the good of others. If you come to the table with that, I can promise you that Jesus will use your influence to impact the people around you in the best ways. Jesus can use whatever you have to do big things. So today, I simply want to help you start seeing that. For some of you, maybe the best thing you can do today is begin to realize the influence you have. Maybe it's influence with your family or your teammates or your friend group or your small group or even your social media. Or maybe it's just one close friend or one kid in your small group or one younger sibling or one student from your class. Either way, it's influence, and you have it. It doesn't have to be thousands of people. It doesn't even have to be dozens. If there's just one person in your life you can lead towards something positive, that's influence. And if you're not sure where you have influence, ask someone that you trust to help you see it. A close friend, a parent, or your small group leader. Ask them where they might see you have influence or more potential to influence others than you realize. Then be willing to do something with what you have to offer. Maybe for you, that would mean giving more time to your younger siblings or focusing on posting more positive things on social media. Maybe you have a kind word to share with someone or a sense of humor to make your mom smile or laugh. Or maybe doing something influencing, like sharing this video. I mean, think about it. We all have something to offer others. And when we're willing to use what we have, that's influence. If you're not sure what you have to give, again, asking someone close to you for an idea is a great place to start. Jesus can use whatever you have to do big things. So as we move into this time of worship, be thinking of this question: what's one area I have influence?
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 That is who you are.
We are so glad that you joined us today. Remember, you have influence. What will you choose to do with it? If you need help or prayer or anything, please reach out to your youth leader or small group leader. We're here for you. Love you guys and can't wait to see you next week.